okay, look around you. You see what's happening, right? Institutions that, well, they once seemed solid, now pushing agendas that feel kind of alien. If you've got that, that nagging sense that the foundations are shifting under our feet, that what used to be just common sense is now somehow controversial, then this deep dive is definitely for you. We're cracking open an ebook today, one that, well, it doesn't pull any punches. It really dissects the history of these societal shifts. Forget the sugar-coated narrative. This is about data, about the science that often gets ignored, the kind of truths, that resonate with men who value strength, clarity, and frankly aren't afraid to see things as they really are.
Yeah, what's immediately striking, I think, is the ebook's willingness to just tackle subjects head on, things many shy away from. It presents a perspective that definitely challenges a lot of the current cultural orthodoxy.
Absolutely. And the chapter titles alone tell you what you're in for. Things like fat acceptance and the death of common sense, from tolerance to tyranny in 5 buzzwords, masculinity under siege, the marriage plantation.
Evolutionary biology doesn't apologize. Traditional cultures do better, rebuilding male brotherhoods, and even sperm counts don't lie. This isn't your mainstream narrative, clearly.
Not at all.
So our mission today, really, is to extract the core insights from this ebook, to try and understand the historical context it lays out for how our culture and our institutions have arrived at this point, especially regarding issues that, matter most to you listening. And hey, if you find this valuable as we go, please do hit that like button and subscribe. It helps the show. Just want to mention up front, this ebook, it's available for purchase on Amazon Kindle and Google Play Books. And for more, let's say, unfiltered analysis like this, you should follow @ConradRicker on Substack. Okay, so let's dive into this thing. The ebook kicks off with a pretty direct confrontation of the health at every size movement. It doesn't mince words at all. No, it really doesn't. And what's fascinating here is the author's approach. They use historical data, biological data, to question that prevailing narrative. For instance, there's a reference to a lack of obesity-related joint issues in like Viking burial sites, which, offers a compelling counterpoint to the modern acceptance of much higher body weights.
Exactly. And the comparison they make, comparing it to like 18th century Londoners rationalizing gin-induced liver failure as bodily autonomy. It's brutal, but it's an effective way to highlight the potential dangers of, ignoring biological realities. The ebook references studies, too, on metabolic markers and people advocating for health at every size. And it points to examples like the premature death of a plus-size model who was celebrated for rejecting diet culture. The author uses these examples to really push back against the idea that weight is solely a personal choice without any health consequence.
Right. And the ebook connects this to a broader cultural phenomenon they call the Twinkie Manifesto, where the rejection of traditional health standards becomes almost like a form of rebellion. And it suggests this shift can lead to society, downplaying the importance of physical well-being overall.
Right. Makes sense. And from there, the ebook pivots. It goes to the concept of tolerance, arguing that it's been sort of twisted into something that resembles tyranny in some ways. It discusses how expressing certain viewpoints outside the norm now, can result in blacklisting or fines for so-called misgendering, and just a general chilling effect on free speech. Now, here's where it gets really interesting, I thought. The author brings in this idea of repressive tolerance, a concept where systems that seem tolerant on the surface can actually suppress dissenting views.
Yeah, that's a key point.
Think about those corporate privilege, because you sometimes hear about the ebook, draws a direct parallel there.
And what's particularly provocative, I think, is the comparison the ebook makes between the tactics of, say, East Germany's Stasi and some modern HR department.
Wow.
Yeah, it highlights the potential for policies, even ones seemingly enacted with good intentions, to create an environment where open expression is just stifled.
It even touches on how environmental, social, and governance ESG score, the ones used by investors, are allegedly being weaponized, used to blacklist contractors who might have conservative viewpoints. So the ebook paints this picture of a landscape where certain ideas aren't just debated, they're actively punished.
Yeah, challenging environment.
Which I guess naturally leads into the chapter on masculinity under siege. The ebook basically contends that traditional masculine traits, things like assertiveness, stoicism, qualities that historically were vital for building civilization, and let's face it, are still crucial in times of crisis, are now being branded as toxic.
Right. And the ebook uses a powerful example here. It talks about the relatively unacknowledged efforts of male volunteers, guys rebuilding homes after the Hawaii wildfires. And it contrasts that with the potential media attention. If those same men had pause to discuss microaggressions, it really raises a question about what our society truly values and celebrates now.
It's a stark contrast, isn't it?
It is.
And it makes you wonder, why figures like Jason Momoa still command such attention if traditional masculinity is supposedly outdated. The ebook's argument is basically that, well, basic biology and the fundamental demands of civilization still require men who can build, protect, and lead. And this societal shift in how we view masculinity, the author argues, it has real-world negative consequences, particularly within systems like family courts, where fathers often face significant disadvantages.
And this really sets the stage for the ebook's chapter titled The Marriage Plantation, which presents a very critical view of modern marriage, especially its legal and financial aspects as they relate to men.
Right. Yeah, this chapter paints a rather bleak picture, doesn't it? Suggesting that the current legal framework often financially penalizes men, especially through things like alimony and divorce laws. The ebook points to Nevada, for example. Its reputation as a place with more lenient divorce laws, attracting people seeking quicker dissolution. They call it divorce tourism. It even includes this kind of satirical idea of an ex-wife ETF, just to highlight the perceived financial risks for men in modern marriage.
It's quite pointed.
Yeah.
And the author argues that alimony, rather than solely addressing, say, income disparity, can function more like a form of financial penalty, especially in states with no-fault divorce laws.
Okay.
This chapter also delves into the rise of MGTOW men going their own way, suggesting it's not just some fringe movement, but actually includes successful men who are consciously opting out of a system they see as unfairly structured against them.
Right.
The ebook even mentions a proposed bachelor tax in Canada as an example of policies that could, potentially, further disincentivize marriage for men.
Now, the chapter, Evolutionary Biology Doesn't Apologize, is particularly direct, very blunt. It examines how contemporary lifestyles, especially diet and lack of physical activity, are having a pretty detrimental impact on men's health, even affecting things like sperm counts. The ebook uses the rather blunt comparison of dad bods to endocrine dumpster fires to make its point.
Yeah, strong language. The author draws a clear connection between declining testosterone levels and increased body mass index, arguing that modern men are, in a sense, prioritizing comfort and convenience over, biological fitness.
And again, the ebook uses historical comparison, pointing to the generally leaner physiques and presumably higher quality sperm of men in the past. It raises concerns about modern habits too, like keeping laptops on laps maybe, and the increasing reliance on IVF treatment, especially among tech workers, suggesting there are potential biological costs to our current sedentary, technology-heavy lifestyles.
Yep.
The fundamental message here seems to be that biological reality, they operate independently of social trends or activism. Biology doesn't care about politics.
Precisely. Which leads quite naturally to the chapter Traditional Cultures Knew Better.
Yeah.
Here, the ebook looks at societies like the Amish and ancient Sparta.
Exactly. This chapter highlights their lower rates of obesity, for instance, and their emphasis on physical strength and important, clearly defined gender roles.
Yeah.
The ebook points out the striking difference between the Amish's roughly 4% obesity rate compared to the national average, which is much higher. It presents these societies as examples where, hard work, discipline, communal expectations maybe fostered healthier individuals. And the look at Zulu warriors with their incredibly low body fat percentages, that further emphasizes the historical value placed on strength and physical prowess, suggesting modern society might have sort of lost sight of this fundamental understanding.
Now, it's probably worth noting that the ebook maybe presents a potentially idealized view of these cultures, right? Focusing on specific aspects that support its argument.
Sure, fair point.
However, the author's core argument is pretty clear. These societies prioritize certain values that seem to have diminished in modern Western culture.
Okay, and finally, let's touch on sperm counts don't lie. This chapter continues that biological theme, focusing squarely on the documented decline in sperm counts and linking it again to factors like diet, exposure to plastic, our increasingly sedentary, tech-driven lives. The ebook cites statistics comparing average sperm counts from, say, 1973 to today, and it paints a, frankly, concerning picture.
Yeah, it does. And the author argues this decline isn't just an individual health concern, but have broader societal implications that we really need to consider.
And it connects us back to the idea of rejecting what it calls soy lectures in favor of the real food that historically supported male health and virility. The ebook offers a rather cynical perspective here, suggesting that some industries might even profit from promoting both certain dietary trends and then the subsequent need for things like testosterone replacement therapies.
A provocative link to make.
Definitely. Look, this deep dive has really only scratched the surface of the argument, the data, and the often provocative style of this ebook.
Yeah, absolutely. By examining these historical and biological perspectives, the ebook really encourages you, the listener, to critically reevaluate many of the prevailing narratives around health, gender roles, societal values, the things that shape our current cultural landscape.
So consider what we've discussed here today. Think about these historical comparisons, these data points the ebook presents. How might they shift your understanding of some of the cultural and institutional shifts you're witnessing? I mean, which institutions do you believe have strayed furthest from their original purpose, maybe? And what could the long-term consequences be?
Yeah, reflecting on the foundational principles of our institutions and how current trends align with or diverge from those principles. That's a really crucial exercise, I think, in understanding the present and maybe preparing for the future.
Absolutely. And look, for a much deeper exploration of all these topics, including chapters we didn't even get to, on rebuilding male brotherhoods, navigating financial landscape, reclaiming public spaces, be sure to pick up the ebook. It's on Amazon, Kindle, and Google Play Books. And you can also get more thought-provoking analysis by following @Conrad Riker on Substack. And finally, if you found this deep dive valuable, please do like and subscribe to the show. It really does help us out.
Engaging with perspectives like these, even if challenging, can provide really valuable insights as you navigate the complexities of the modern world.
Absolutely. Well said. Thanks for diving deep with us today. Until next time.